All right, y'all, we back with another reaction. This one is called Dismembered Teen Found in David's Tesla Trunk Spotted on Video. So now there's more video of Celeste, the young girl who lost her life, rest in peace to her. That's out right now. Let's get updated on this David case and what's going on and what new details have emerged.
Surface that potentially shows Celeste Rivas Hernandez's perhaps final movements caught on tape before she vanished and was ultimately found dead in a car registered to singer David. This, along with new details about that car and how long it may have been abandoned, are giving us a better sense of a timeline as everyone searches for answers. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
Sidebar.
So as you know, we have been carefully following the Celeste Rivas Hernandez death, and we want to track what we seem to know about her and her movements, because that is key here. That is key. And this comes as TMZ has just released new surveillance footage apparently showing her right before she disappeared last year. And let me put it into context about why this is so significant. So her decomposed remains, the decomposed remains of this teenage girl, were found in the trunk of a 2023 Tesla at a spot called Hollywood Tow Yard, and this car was registered to singer David, D4vD, David Anthony Burke. In fact, she was found a day after she would have turned 15 years old. But the question is, and the mystery here, is what was going on before she ended up in that car, right? Her whereabouts before her remains were discovered in that car. That's the mystery. Well, it's at least a mystery to us. We're not sure what investigators really have at this point, what's happening behind the scenes. I will provide you a recent update from the LAPD Captain, which is interesting. We'll talk about it. But they have been relatively tight-lipped. Not uncommon in an investigation like this. I mean,
and that's what I'm saying. You haven't heard much from the police. So he said he got an update. You haven't seen much from the police. Everything up until this point has really been driven by the internet, by people coming off Reddit, people coming off shit they see on all these live streams, and it's just crazy. So it's kind of all over the place. And it makes you think like, hey, he did it. But wait a minute, why isn't he being arrested? So he didn't do it. Or do they not know? What do they, like, it's putting everybody all over the goddamn place like scrambled eggs, man.
We don't even have an official cause of death. Authorities have not identified a suspect or person of interest. That includes David, too. He has not officially been implicated in any crime or any wrongdoing. I want to be clear about that. But when it comes to Celeste, the victim in this case, where was she? What was she doing? Well, it has been reported that Celeste had run away from home on prior occasions. Law enforcement sources reportedly told TMZ that it was due to a, quote, troubled home. Like there had been this reporting that she ran away in January of 2024, was taken back home after being found or located in Hollywood. However, speaking of TMZ, we got to talk about what they reported. So they got their hands on surveillance footage. It's video from a liquor store in Lake Elsinore, California. That's about 76 miles away from Hollywood, where Celeste's body was found. Now, this is footage reportedly from March 19th, 2024. So possibly the second time that she allegedly ran away. And her sister apparently went to this liquor store. It's called the Lago Spirits, which was reportedly near the family home, to try to see if they have surveillance tape capturing Celeste's movement, see where she went. In this video from TMZ, it appears to show a person wearing a black hoodie and white or light colored pants, a person believed to have been identified by the family as Celeste. And in the video, assuming it is her, you can see Celeste walking quite quickly down the street, then appear to jog or sprint a bit as she rounds the corner, and she eventually disappears from view. Now, we don't know exactly where she came from, or maybe more importantly, where she went. On TMZ Live, Harvey Levin and staff, they discussed whether it was possible she had gotten into a car that had seemingly stopped on the street. TMZ also apparently interviewed the liquor store owner, Ellie Nadeff, who described Celeste as a, quote, beautiful, quiet, shy girl, someone who would simply come into the store to buy ordinary items like chips and soda. And of course, the question was, how did she go from potentially being on that tape to ending up in the trunk of a car? Well, what I'm about to tell you is going to further this mystery. So previous reporting indicated that the Tesla that was apparently abandoned in the Hollywood Hills, it was
all right, here we go.
There maybe just for a few days before it was towed, impounded, and sent to the tow yard, where, by the way, a worker smelled a foul odor coming from the car and called police, and then the body was discovered. Well, now we have more details. Neighbors reportedly told NBC Los Angeles that that car had been there for about a month. And as per reporting from LA Times, that Tesla, again registered to David, was ticketed 11 days before Celeste was found inside. So it was parked on Bluebird Avenue. A resident apparently complained that it was parked there for so long. On August 27th, a parking enforcement officer marked the car. Then on September 3rd, the officer issued a citation for violating a 72-hour parking ordinance. August 5th, it was towed. September 8th is when the body is found. This is again reporting by the Los Angeles Times.
Oh shit, these are totally different dates than what came out. Completely different fucking dates. And I knew that shit. I fucking said it. The original first story said that the car was there for like a month. But everybody started saying it was only there for 5 days. And I'm like, no, it was the neighbors. It was a neighbor on the news say she saw somebody come move the car from one side of the street to the other side of the street like 2 weeks in a row. So I'm like, how is it there for 5 days if a neighbor saw somebody move the car twice? 2 separate times in 2 separate weeks. This whole story, that's what I'm saying, and the internet is all these people just putting out shit and it's like cluttering everything to where the facts, that's why I said on the show, you gotta have the facts, man. Because this shit is all over the goddamn place.
So if we're thinking of Celeste's time of death, her cause of death, how long she may have been in that car for, particularly if we discuss decomposition, the timeline has now shifted. By the way, according to News Nation, private investigator Steve Fisher explained that the initial complaint report, which he apparently reviewed, details how the Tesla had a dent, but there was no mention of a smell, and how it was essentially abandoned only 150 feet from a Hollywood Hills property that David had been renting. And we reported on a previous episode of Sidebar how David apparently broke the lease recently, moved his stuff out. And this came after police had searched the property, apparently confiscated electronics and computers. This was per a search warrant. But we are trying to track the movements of this victim, of this teenage girl, who when found reportedly weighed 71 pounds, had a tattoo on her finger that read, "Shh." This is according to the LA medical examiner. That was a distinguishing feature, by the way, that apparently helped to identify her. And TMZ reported that David has the same tattoo. As we mentioned in our previous episode of Sidebar, TMZ reported that people in the industry believed that 20-year-old David and Celeste were dating. Many believe she was actually 19 years old. She was in the 7th grade, by the way. And there have been questions more about this connection, right? There's questions about whether he mentioned this Celeste in a song. News Nation reports that there was a live stream of apparently both of them talking to David's fans that has recently circulated online. That there is a photo of seemingly the both of them, with those wondering if it was the same shirt he wore in that photo that he wore with Billie Eilish in October of 2023. This is from reporting by Complex. And speaking photos, by the way, TMZ also got a hold of a photo of seemingly David out in Lake Elsinore, so less than a mile from Celeste's home. And by the way, authorities haven't officially identified a connection between David and Celeste. As I said, they've been very tight-lipped. All we know is that they're continuing to investigate.
That shit is wild,
it was reported
man.
earlier on that David had been cooperative with authorities. He has since canceled his
wild.
Wither tour. He's delayed release of his album. But in an exclusive interview with People magazine, an LAPD commanding officer would not confirm whether David was cooperating with the investigation or not. Here's what he would say. So LAPD Captain Scott M. Williams told People, "We know for sure that Celeste Rivas Hernandez died and someone placed her body in the front trunk area of David Burke's Tesla. We know that the Tesla had been parked at the location from which it was towed for several weeks."
Several weeks. This is from the LAPD captain, y'all. So anybody who was saying 5 days, it was only there a couple days, you're wrong. This is official. This is a fact. This is from the LAPD captain. It was there a couple weeks, parked.
So it is very likely Celeste Rivas Hernandez had been dead for several weeks prior to her body being discovered. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner has not determined a cause or manner of death, so we don't know for sure if anyone has any criminal culpability for her death beyond the concealment of her dead body. LAPD's robbery homicide unit is apparently still on the case. So the question is, with this video, these new details, this comment, what do they tell us about Celeste's movements leading up to her death? Let me bring on Matt Irvine, retired detective, law enforcement instructor. Thank you so much for taking the time. Why is that video significant from the liquor store?
Well, as you said, this video is apparently from March 19 of 2024. We know that Celeste went missing, reported missing the day before that. So the video is very important in terms of capturing a moment, apparently leading up to what we believe is her second disappearance from home. As you said, she is seen walking and then running towards someone or something off screen. The liquor.
Wait, so she went missing the day before. I mean, she was still out there somewhere, and then they saw her walking the next day, still out there, and then she was gone. This is a crazy little case, bro. This shit is crazy.
Store owner has stated that he believes she entered a vehicle. Now, that vehicle is not captured in this footage, but what this footage does is it gives investigators a date, time, and place to work from. So there may be other security footage that captured a license plate of the vehicle, might have captured face of the driver of the vehicle. It also just gives places to look for time and date in terms of communications that Celeste was having around March 19 of 2024. Who is she talking with? Who is she texting with? The substance of those texts is probably no longer available, but call detail records and text detail records would at least show us who she was communicating with around the time of this disappearance. So it may show us who was behind the wheel of that car, whose car that was, and who she was talking to before she went missing.
What did you mean by the content? We might not know the content of the messages anymore.
So typically, cell phone providers, they only retain the content of text messages for a very limited period of time, usually a matter of weeks or months. So we're now talking about a year and a half ago. Those text records, in terms of the details of what was said, are probably no longer available. But what should still be available from most cell phone providers is the persons or the phone numbers with which she was communicating.
I just want to go back to that video, and that's an interesting point. Just going back to that video, do you think investigators are looking at...
So that's going to be a major key right here. Connecting the time that she was in this area when they're saying she hopped in the car, getting those text records, the phone records, and finding out who was she texting at that same time, who she called at that time. They gonna crack this shit. They just making sure all their shit is concrete. They putting it together because the thing is the internet tried to solve this shit in fucking 48 hours, 72 hours. The internet was working fast, but that's why you can't go off the internet. You can't go off the internet because it could paint all kind of narratives and it could make shit discombobulated and cloudy. And now you over here thinking one person did it and you might fuck around and not look at the right person who did it. So now everybody just on David. But what if it was somebody else in the picture that didn't like her, that wanted to get at David or something and put it on David to make it look like David because all signs are going to look like it was David. Now, that murder part is what we got a question mark about. Who did it? But we need clarity because right now, if y'all come out and say he wasn't dealing with this girl, because right now he looks like a pedo. Off the rip. I'm 100%. Oh, he got this girl in videos. This is that. Y'all, if y'all gonna kill that too, because why isn't he in trouble for that? At least, why isn't he in trouble for that? That's another question people are asking. All right, the murder shit. What about him fucking with the minor? Why isn't he in trouble for that? Y'all, so y'all gotta give us some clarity on that too. Just that aspect too. That part. Was they in a relationship? Was they really in a relationship? Or is it something the internet is putting all together? Give us some clarity. Like, we need that shit. We need the fucking information, man.
And what do they analyze in the video? Do they try to get a hold of any car that passed by Celeste? Try to find out who they are, say, hey, did you see this girl? Do they analyze what her movements were? How do they even officially confirm that it is her? I believe her family identified that it was her. But what do they do with that short video? How do they analyze it and what technology do they use?
So it's probably unlikely that anybody a year and a half later is going to have a specific recollection of seeing a car going by or a person going by simply because it wouldn't have meant anything to them at the time. However, Again, this security footage, while this camera doesn't capture the license plate or the vehicle or the face of the driver, it doesn't mean that there aren't other nearby security cameras, traffic cameras, automated license plate readers, other devices that did capture the vehicle and who was behind the wheel. In terms of figuring out whether this was Celeste, besides the family statement, which I think is very significant, Celeste, if she's like most adolescents in this day and age, has a cell phone. And while the specific geolocation data, again, is probably no longer available, the broad cell site info should be available from whoever her cell phone service provider was. And so you can place Celeste at that time and place captured on the video. And again, you could do the same with other people of interest in the case. Where do their cell phones and potentially even vehicles show us that they were on March 19th of 2024?
Right. What is the reported runaway attempts? How does that complicate the case? How does that affect the investigation? Talk to me about that.
Well, it looks like what we're hearing now is that Celeste left home on several occasions before finally disappearing for good, at least as far as her family was concerned, in May of 2024. We are also hearing that one of the earlier runaway attempts that you mentioned in either January or February of 2024, reportedly her family or a family friend sent communication to David Burke's manager trying to locate Celeste and provided to the manager an image of one of the many missing posters that was.
Has anybody questioned the parents? Because all right, listen. Why was she running away so much? Because obviously, you know, low-hanging fruit, we're going to say, oh, it's because of David. It was because of David. Has anybody dug in on the background of the parents? Why do your kid keep attempting to run away and coming back and then running away, coming back, running away, coming back?
Created by the family on behalf of Celeste. And again, reportedly, after that communication between the family and the manager, Celeste returned home within a day. So it seems like at least some of these runaway efforts were efforts to meet with David.
I'm going to talk about that manager in a minute because he apparently spoke out on social media after being accused of being allegedly involved in what happened to Celeste. He's been fighting back hard against that. I'll get to that in a second.
Finally, I didn't see the manager say something. So finally, God damn it. We need more people involved. Let's get to the bottom of this shit.
The LA Captain statement I thought was interesting for a number of different reasons, trying to establish what they know and don't know. They've been quite tight-lipped. Authorities have been quite tight-lipped. But even suggesting we're not sure that there's criminal liability beyond concealing the body, right, to suggest that we don't even know for sure that there's a murder, that there was a homicide, that this could have resulted from something else. Isn't that significant? I mean, that statement I thought was important.
It's very concerning, and it suggests that at least at this point, they have been unable to determine the cause of death, and that may be due to the advanced state of decomposition that is likely to have resulted from this poor child being dead in the front trunk of a vehicle in a very hot environment for, now we're hearing, maybe up to a month.
Let's talk about that, because this car was there at least now 11 days before. We don't know when the body was deposited. I would imagine it would be quite difficult to deposit a body in a car in a public area like this. There's reports that people were noticing the car being there. But that provides a timeline of when she was killed and how long she might have been in that car for, particularly when you couple that with decomposition. In the end, how accurate are authorities going to be in terms of a timeline of death?
See, here's the thing. It's another thing. It's like a blank statement. As the car was there for a month. That's just a blank statement. It's like, all right, it was there, but did it move? Did it go places? Was it being used? That's what we want to know, because there was, early in this shit, when they talked to a neighbor, it was on the news. She said, I saw somebody move the car across the street twice on separate occasions, 2 different weeks. So somebody was moving the car while it was there. She said that shit. Then they got street sweeper tickets where now they can identify this car was here because it got a street sweeper ticket on this day. Like, what was the status of the car? Because it wasn't obviously just parked in one spot the whole time, from what we heard. Now, can y'all make connections with the all these damn cameras around Hollywood? If the car went down the hill who was driving it. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, again, as you said, we don't know for sure when she was placed in the front trunk of that vehicle, but we're now hearing it could have been as far back as early August of this year or a month or so before she was discovered. That's consistent with some of the reporting that we're hearing in terms of communication Celeste was having with friends, which appear to have stopped sometime in late July or the early part of August of this year. So it is quite likely that that is when this child's life ended. The fact that she's been reported as weighing only 70 something pounds upon her autopsy, I think is significant. This is a child, again, according to the missing posters.
she was 120 pounds. She lost 50 pounds. So she was 120 pounds on the missing. When they found her body, she was 70 pounds. So 50 pounds gone. That was another major key right now that I didn't know, that they said the communication with her friends stopped early August. The car was there for a month. The car was also taken in August, they said earlier, not in September.
That weighed about 120 pounds or more when alive. So that suggests that she's been deceased for a while and that significant decomposition occurred before she was found.
One other thing, I think when we first started covering this case, there was an understanding that maybe that car was only there for a few days. And one of the scenarios that we came up with, well, perhaps whoever did this, they didn't have enough time to take that next step, moving the car, doing something with the body. But if now we're listening to this and that car was there for a prolonged period of time, doesn't that tell you something? Whether it's they wanted the car to be found, whether they wanted it there, whether or not they had the ability to get to it in time. But if the car was there for a prolonged period of time, doesn't that tell you something else about who may have done this, or maybe not who may have done this, but what the motivations or the...
Right. And that's what I've been saying from day one. If he did it, that's like, I want to be found. But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's too easy. You made it too easy. But for them not to arrest you, something ain't right, man. It's not adding up. It's not adding up.
Actions were of the person who put her body in the car.
Well, what it does suggest is that the car was abandoned in this Los Angeles neighborhood at about the same time that David Burke's tour schedule would have made him...
Let me add that, because CNN reported that he began his tour in early August, was even set to go overseas to Europe next month. That's been canceled. It was interesting because TMZ reported that he had a San Francisco show at the end of July, with the official tour starting reportedly August 5th in Del Mar. So there, I think, is the timeline there. Talk to us about it.
Well, again, those early tour dates were all in West Coast cities, in places where he could presumably get back to Los Angeles without a great deal of trouble. It's about August 15th, and for a couple of weeks after that, that he's pretty solidly in the eastern part of the U.S., in Canada, and I think one or two Midwest states. All of those locations with pretty much back-to-back tours, that is, pretty much every night, would make it very difficult for David Burke to return to the Los Angeles area. So I don't know if there was any intention to have the vehicle or the body discovered, but it seems like from about August 15th forward, it would have been very difficult for David Burke to return to Los Angeles for any reason, including to move his car.
By the way, I was going to ask you this. As we're trying to track her movements, as we're trying to understand a timeline, how tough is it to do that? And how much is it complicated by her age? We're talking about a 13, 14-year-old girl, only so much she could do on her own, right? As opposed to, let's say a 25-year-old. When you were trying to track her movements, does that complicate it for investigators?
It may, in the sense that, as you said, she's a child. She doesn't have all the sort of trappings of adulthood around her. Quite frankly, it seems like whatever trappings she had were probably provided to her by adults who were abetting and enabling this behavior.
That
It's been reported that she had, for example, fake IDs. That's not something that a seventh grader from Lake Elsinore gets on her own. She didn't have a job. She didn't have money. She could not on her own get a fake ID that would fool a Hollywood nightclub doorman. So, yes, you're right. She doesn't have a lot of the trappings of adulthood, but it's almost certain that she's got a phone. And a phone is maybe the easiest way to create a historical record of somebody's movements.
Right.
You want to go back to the manager. So this is being reported by...
All right, here we go. Let's get to the manager now. Somebody from David's side, because we have yet to hear anything from David. David's manager, I haven't heard that. So this is going to be a first for me, maybe a first for y'all as well. Finally hearing something from David's manager.
A magazine that David's manager, Josh Marshall, has gone on the defensive on TikTok after people have accused him of being involved with what happened to Celeste. So apparently, after a private investigator came out and said that there is this, and you referred to it before, this 2024 email that people had told Marshall that Celeste disappeared and was with David, that he never responded to that email. The manager never responded to the email. Now, Celeste apparently did return the next day, but again, it seems this has led people to make accusations, with an account believed to be Marshall responding online to all of this. How dare you say something like this with no facts? He elaborated further in a detailed statement. This has been a tough time for my family as I am a father of 3 children. I receive no emails and I'm no one's roommate. I live full-time at home with my wife and kids. My daughter is 14 and this news is affecting so many lives. I never received any emails. I had zero knowledge of anything and I don't live in California.
Wow, see? So they made it seem, you would assume, that's the thing, they be giving like these blank ass with no details, and you would assume that the manager lived there because they said, oh, the house was in the manager's name. So everybody instantly assumed, oh, that was his roommate. Oh, they lived together. There was a lot of people saying that. Oh, they lived together. That was, his manager is in his name. The manager has something to do with it. And that's what happened when the police don't put out details and the internet just get to going. They thirsty, they bloodthirsty. So any little hint of what you know comes out, they're gonna attack. So once they heard, oh, they raided the house, and then they found out, oh, the house is in the manager's name. Oh, the manager got something to do with it. Everybody get him. And then the manager comes out right here and says, hey, y'all, I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. I don't even live out there. I live with my family. I got 3 kids. What the fuck y'all talking about? And that's what the internet could do. The internet just be going, boy. They be looking, trying to stick their fangs in people. And that's, again, why I say, you got to have the fucking facts, man. You can't go off the internet because the internet will send your ass on a killing spree, man. You just be getting all the wrong people.
Also, I work remotely 95% of the time, and my job doesn't require me to have much interaction with any of my clients / David, as there are many others that work with him on a day-to-day capacity, not me. This news is tragic for so many and for her family. I hope the proper authorities get to the bottom of it soon. Let me remind people, a lot of this is speculation and alleged. In the meantime, I am with my family, helping them emotionally get through the news of this tragedy. Please report on factual information. And regarding whether he ever drives a Tesla,
it's kind of like he shunned, he kind of separated himself from David with that statement. Like, hey, I don't really be with him like that. I don't really be with him like that. My job is remote. I don't have to be with him. I live out here. He lives out there. I can't tell you what that nigga doing. I just make sure he show up at the tour dates and we split this money. You know what I mean? A lot of people assume because somebody manager, they have to be with them day to day. No, they have day-to-day managers and they have managers. Niggas that could work from, I could be in goddamn Paris and I could still run a play for my client. I don't got to be there. My client could be in California. I can run a play from Paris, but there are day-to-day managers. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're learning here. He's not with him all the time. He's not his day-to-day. Okay. So he say. We can only take what these motherfuckers say with a grain of salt because we don't know him. So he say. Allegedly.
No cars registered in my name in California, nor have any of my cars been in that state. Please use facts with supporting evidence when making comments. What are your thoughts on that that statement? And also just generally, how much can the public help or hurt an investigation?
Those are really important questions. The manager is certainly correct that there's a lot of reporting in this case that is unverified. So much of the information on this case is circulating on social media and on sites that do not engage in rigorous fact-checking. That said, as this case has drawn more attention, there is more reporting now from institutions like the LA Times, like NBC, that do engage in pretty rigorous fact-checking and make a point of verifying information before they publish it. As to what he knew and when he knew it and whether or not he received this communication, that's exactly why search warrants exist. And I imagine that in addition to the search warrant on the residence that's been widely reported, that the LAPD has done search warrants to telecommunication companies, to internet service providers, to social media companies to try to follow the electronic trail in this case.
We're going to stay on top of it. We're going to continue to follow it, see what happens. Matter and Vine, thank you so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it.
All right. As the case continues, we will definitely get caught up to speed on it. We will definitely stay in the loop as much as possible. I will say Law&Crime is a great channel, y'all. If y'all don't know about Law&Crime, when there's some hot shit going on in the press, Law&Crime really breaks it all down. They bring on analysts, they bring on detectives, they bring on goddamn lawyers, they bring on all kind of people, and they go through the shit and they present facts. They talk about the facts that they've ran across, not just Instagram. That's why I don't like arguing with niggas who think Instagram motherfucking detectives are real and they know what the fuck they talking about. I'm not arguing with the homies no more doing that. What? What are we talking about? They fucking up the whole case. The Instagram detectives of how you thinking this nigga did some shit and everybody mad at him, and now the nigga who really did it and got away and he done skipped and caught a flight and gone to Paris. He out of here. You know what I'm saying? So let me know what y'all think in the comment section about this case, man. It's getting spicy, and rest in peace this young lady again. More and more shit is going to start coming out as we go. Obviously, again, we saw, they put out like some smear shit on her, trying to say she was using an ER word and all that, to sway some people. I'm sure that was the intent of it, to sway, the brothers and sisters from affiliate. I don't know. It's giving a weird vibe though, y'all. It's giving a weird vibe. We need to know more about what she was going through at home, and that's what the detectives gonna want to know too, as well as David. All that, y'all. Listen, they're gonna do a full search. This shit is a viral case. They can't leave no stones unturned. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna want to know, why was she running away. I saw something about her father. This could be a Instagram detective fact. Her father was in the cartel, and this and that, and like they're pouring out all this, starting to put all this stuff on her now. But I'm like, who's doing that? Who is trying to sway, and make her look crazy? I don't, you know how this shit go, man. That shit was very important right there. The manager coming out and saying what he said. He definitely put a wedge between him and David. Like, look, me and my family, David's out there. I work remote. I don't deal with David as on a day-to-day. Me and my family, protect me and my family. He's basically letting you know, I don't got shit to do with that. I don't got nothing to do with that. I don't got nothing to do with that man's personal actions. Don't affiliate me with that. Let me let y'all know. Because he couldn't take it no more. Instagram, TikTok, everybody was going at his ass. He couldn't take it no more. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. At this point, where are the signs leading for you? Who else should you be keeping an eye on that may know some things that could be vital in this situation? Let me know in the comments section. Make sure you smash the like. I'm going to give you 2 seconds. Smash the like. And as always, get ready for the next reaction.